Hey everybody, it's Chase with AV Pop Culture again, and today we continue our spooky season focused content with the top 15 sci-fi horror films of all time. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so the top 15 sci-fi horror films, in my opinion, these are all in my collection. I have all of these. So these are my top 15. I'm going to give one honorable mention here to a movie that a lot of people don't like, and it's not my favorite either, but I have some fun with it. We're going to get to them all. I'm going to warn you, however, that my rankings are probably going to be a little bit controversial, and there may be some controversial movies on this list. So without any further ado, let's get to it with my bonus here. And I'm talking John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars. It's not a great movie, but the cast is good in this movie. I mean, you got Ice Cube in here, Natasha Henstridge is here, Jason Statham is in here, Pam Grier is in here. You have a good cast. You have a lot of potential for the movie. The movie's got like weird, like dissolves and all kinds of stuff in it, but the concept, like I love the thought of like monsters and ghosts on Mars and us getting to Mars and checking that out. I would love to do a movie like that, so I'm a little partial to it. It is definitely sci-fi, definitely horror. I can't put it on the list with the rest of these, but I got to give an honorable mention, shout out to it. I think it would look cool in 4K, but John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars, I'm going to be honest, I would 100% buy it if they put it in the collector's box like that. I definitely would. So John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars, my little bonus on here. All right, now keep in mind, this is my rankings, and this is how I feel about the movies themselves as much as I enjoy them. So coming up at number 15 on our list, and a lot of you are going to be shocked to see this movie this low. I do really like this movie, but if I'm grabbing movies to rewatch, I'm probably going to rewatch all the rest on this list more than this one. And yeah, I'm just going to say it's Cronenberg's The Fly. It's a good movie. Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, a hell of a performance by Jeff Goldblum in here. Genuinely creepy sci-fi horror. Body horror is not my favorite genre of horror whatsoever. So that is like part of the thing here is I'm just not as much into the body horror elements. But yeah, be afraid, be very afraid of The Fly. It has to be on any top sci-fi horror list, though. It just doesn't come in as high for me as it does for a lot of people. Still thoroughly enjoy it, but definitely it's a big-time movie for Cronenberg. It is not my favorite one of his that could be on this list, though. A little spoiler alert. But The Fly comes in at number 15. All right, at number 14 on our list is one that I don't hear talked about a whole lot, and I just really like the mystery of this film. I like, I don't know, the whole kind of like otherworldly, like, I really don't know. You're kind of in another world, an alien environment, even though you're at the ocean floor. But the whole deep, dark mystery and kind of time travel and all this stuff that's pulled in to the Sphere. I really like this movie. Talk about a great cast here. Sam Jackson, Sharon Stone, Dustin Hoffman. Liev Schreiber is in this movie. And you want to talk about somebody who like can steal the show for me in almost every movie he's in a scene. Like Liev Schreiber is a really underrated actor. This movie, very creepy. It's definitely sci-fi heavy, but definitely has horror elements to it. There is no doubt. Queen Latifah is in a very, she's in this movie, and she has a very horror filled like sequence in this movie. There is the threat of like sea monsters, and are they really there? Man, there is a lot going on in this movie. This one is super underrated. It involves basically undersea monsters, maybe, time travel, spaceships, alien spaceships, maybe, and a very cool concept that I don't want to give away when it comes to time travel and spaceships. I really like this movie. I like things that have atmosphere and mystery. This has it, but definitely, like, especially for me, somebody that's claustrophobic, being trapped underwater, all that kind of stuff. Super cool movie. Sphere, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Comes in here for me at number 14. At number 13 is one that's going to be a little controversial, maybe, because there's a couple of interpretations of this movie. This movie's getting a 4K. We just got announced. It's definitely one that is a Chase's target. I am talking about Signs by M. Night Shyamalan. Great cast in here, no doubt. Mel Gibson. Joaquin Phoenix, though weird, is a really good actor. Mel Gibson goes without saying. The reason I say this one can be controversial is, while on the surface it definitely seems like, a whole crop circle thing, that's the Signs, aliens, everything else. There's other interpretation that M. Night Shyamalan himself didn't shoot down, that the creatures in this are not aliens, but demons. So when you really start to think about it, watch it with that idea, that the aliens are not aliens, but demons. Because Mel Gibson plays a pastor who has lost his faith because his wife died. And he was a man of faith, and he lost his faith because of the gruesome way that she died. And he thinks that nothing has meaning anymore. And I've had some discussions with people about this movie when it got announced. Go and rewatch the movie with this in mind. That this whole movie is about faith, and that nothing is accidental. Because people complain, and I know the spoilers, this movie's been out forever. People complain it's too easy at the end, that like, oh, well, it's water that got rid of them. Why would aliens come here if water could kill them? We'll get to that in a second. And Joaquin Phoenix just hitting him with a baseball bat. Listen, the whole point of this movie is that faith is real, and that God has a plan. That is the point of this movie. When you think about it like this, he believed his wife's last words were about nothing, just synapse firing in her brain. When she says, for Joaquin Phoenix's character to see, or for Mel Gibson's character to see, and for Joaquin Phoenix's character to swing away. Well, you go into, there's little moments where Joaquin Phoenix, where they're making fun of him because in the same season he hit a 550-foot home run. He also struck out all these times, and he just couldn't quit swinging. He internalizes that, and he says, it felt wrong not to swing. I don't know why. It felt wrong not to swing. That's important, right? God gave him this ability, this incredible power to hit 550-foot home runs, which 0.00001% of people could do. But he couldn't stop himself from swinging. Had he been able to stop himself from swinging all the time, he would have been off on a major league contract, and they even mention that in there, and he wouldn't be at home to help save people and put an end to this. It all has a plan. And then he has to see his daughter has this obsession with water and getting water cups for no reason, and they don't know why, and she sets water around all the time. He has to see that. Mel Gibson has to see that the water can hurt these things, right? And then his whole daughter's obsession with setting water cups around full of water, it means something now, right? So He has to see that and see that the water means something. He and Joaquin Phoenix has the reason he can't stop himself from swinging is because it was part of the plan not to. He has to hit these things. I mean, when you really start to think about it, watch it from that level. Watch it on that deep level and it's just water and a baseball bat. At the end, it shows, one of the last things it shows is Mel Gibson getting himself and putting his collar back on. He has regained his faith because he saw all that. Nothing is accidental. Everything had a plan, God's plan. That is the point of the movie. So sometimes people can also, you can say, why would aliens, if they're aliens, why would they come here if water could kill them? Look, maybe they didn't know water could hurt them. If we go to another alien planet and find life, we won't know what can hurt us and what won't hurt us. So that's kind of that's neither here nor there. But watch it with that. I think it's a very deep, deep movie. So, and not surface level at all. So check it out. Signs definitely makes my list. Coming in at numbers at 15, 14, 13, at number 12 on my list is Videodrome. So I like this Cronenberg movie a little bit better than The Fly. James Woods, fantastic in here. Of course, you have more body horror in here. But this is, of course, about James Woods plays like the head of a TV station. He's looking for shocking content to put on his network. So shocking that he even turns down porn because it's not shocking enough. He finds Videodrome, which is kind of like where people are getting beat and killed, and there's like all this kind of stuff. He wants to put it on the show, or on the show on his station. Then we go down this spiral of a morality tale. Are the people behind Videodrome who are trying to wipe out, essentially, possibly the people who would be drawn to this stuff? Are they bad or are they good? And they're wiping out the bad people who find things like beating and killing innocent people entertaining. So in all that, you have this mix of body horror, and you become this thing. There's a lot of social commentary here that is pertinent for today, where you just become this stuff. Super cool movie. Long live the new flesh. Videodrome comes in at number 12 on our list. At number 11 is one that's fun. Stuart Gordon film, The Animator. Definitely a sci-fi horror film. It's got some comedy elements in here too. Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton in this. So much fun. A classic. Of course, it's about reanimating. He's a scientist. Jeffrey Combs is a scientist who figures out how to bring the dead back to life with his reanimator serum. He gives a great performance in this. There is crazy shit in this. I mean, you literally get to see someone who's been reanimated with a decapitated head, holding their head, trying to give head to a woman, to Barbara Crampton. So the head giving head is kind of a classic thing on here. This movie is a trip. It is fun. Stuart Gordon with his Lovecraft ideas. Definitely sci-fi horror. Reanimator comes in on our list. All right, next up on my list is one that I desperately need the 4K of. This has a lot of action to it. I enjoy this film. I, again, just have this on an ancient DVD with a makeshift case, and I am talking about Pitch Black. The Vin Diesel movie. This is quintessential sci-fi horror right here. Of course, Vin Diesel plays a convict. He is on a transport ship full of like migrants, basically, and they crash land on this place. And this place has two suns, but the suns are going out, and it's going to be a prolonged darkness. And all that's well and good, except for there are monsters that live in the prolonged darkness that will eat you and kill you. And Vin Diesel is specially equipped to deal with this because he can see in the dark. So, really good movie here. A really good cast in this one as well. and a lot of sequels. We just got the Riddick sequel. I've got to get this on 4K because I don't have this. I have Riddick, which is part 2, Chronicles of Riddick, which is part 2, and Riddick part 3 just got announced. So I need Pitch Black. I really enjoy this movie. Good Vin Diesel film, Pitch Black. All right, next up on our list is one that I've talked about a lot recently on the channel, so I'm not going to spend a ton of time talking about it. This one checks the horror boxes 100%, checks the sci-fi boxes. I am talking about Pandora. This is a cool release here by Viavision, and nice little box set. And this is another space travel. They crash. 2 crew members get awoken out of hypersleep, and they don't know where they are. They don't know where the ship is. They don't know what's happened. They don't know how long it has been. And then they find out that there are monsters, cannibalistic, almost like Wendigo type monsters on board the ship. It turns into survival horror, and it has a hell of a twist at the end that I'm not going to spoil. This movie even has Norman Reedus in here, but Dennis Quaid in this is super good. Can't say enough good things about Pandora. Has to be on anyone's sci-fi horror list, and was happy to get this, but this deserves a 4K. All right, next up on our list, I am going back to some H.P. Lovecraft, some Stuart Gordon. I'm going back to Jeffrey Combs. I'm going back to Barbara Crampton, and I'm going to build my ass a big resonator to see in all these other dimensions beside us and watch From Beyond. Oh man, this movie is so good and so messed up. The story is that, again, Jeffrey Combs is a scientist and an assistant to another scientist who's like a psycho crazy sexual dude who builds a resonator that allows us to see all the dimensions that exist parallel to ours, which is something that I maybe kind of believe exists. But the problem is the resonator also allows those monsters to see us and things from the other dimensions to see us and infect us. And it gives us this ability to see, but it messes with your brain and causes things to grow out of your brain. It causes you to change personality. You're going to see Barbara Crampton in a dominatrix type, sexy outfit, trying to get the resonator to continue going because it's changed her personality. I really like this movie a lot. I need to dig into some special features on here. I'm so happy to have this. I had seen this once many years ago, but it was like a first watch again when Daniel at Cobweb said, man, Chase, you got to watch it. You're going to love it. Yes. All the From Beyond. Absolutely love this movie, and it makes our list of sci-fi horror. All right, next up on our list is one that's on my 31 Days of Horror Challenge. Make sure you check out that video. You can join in at any time. It just got a 4K coming from Scream Factory. It is a take on the Invasion of the Body Snatchers and my favorite version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'm talking about The Faculty. It's The Breakfast Club meets Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That's what it is. And a great cast. Some people are like, why isn't Elijah Wood front and center on this? Well, Elijah Wood had not done Lord of the Rings yet at this point. He'd done things like The Good Son and some other stuff. But Josh Hartnett, who is still a big star now, had just come off of was just doing Halloween H2O and stuff like that. He was like the bigger name there. You had Clea Duvall in here. You had Usher in here briefly. Jordana Brewster, who also had yet to do the Fast and the Furious series. That wouldn't have come till a couple years later because I think this was 98 or 99. But this movie is fun. You got Robert Patrick in here playing a psycho football coach. I know a little something about those guys. It's just a lot of fun, man. It is 100% Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Aliens come to Ohio to take over your body and make it their own. And the only thing to stop them is this group of 6 kids. And, I don't really know why it's Usher probably doesn't belong on the cover. Maybe the head girl who is the alien belongs on the cover because she's a whole lot more central to the story, but she ain't Usher. Anyway, the movie is absolute blast, a must buy for me on 4K. Gotta have it. If you haven't seen The Faculty, run, don't walk to watch The Faculty. All right, next up on our list is a movie. This film actually made the 9 movies that scare me. I'm making sure I had the right one. It made the 9 movies that scare me, the challenge I did a while back. You have to think on a deeper level, but this movie is super scary because this involves a spaceship that, this movie's ahead of its time a little bit too, because when this movie came out was still just a few years before we proved without a reasonable doubt that there's a such thing as black holes. Black holes were theoretical still when this movie came out. But Event Horizon, man, oh man. This is about a spaceship that is found that is dead in the water, and this group of salvagers basically have to go and save the spaceship. And the spaceship was carrying a device that could essentially make a black hole, a wormhole in space. And, the edge of a black hole, right, is called an event horizon. And the problem is, it didn't just open a hole in space and time. It opened a hole to hell. And there is a haunting line in this where Sam Neill and Lawrence Fishburne are there, and he's like, and Sam Neill's like, we have to go, and Lawrence Fishburne says, I know, to hell. And Sam Neill's like, hell is just a word. The reality is far, far worse. Man, it is scary. So, like, if you really start to think about this ship and all of the human people in it went to hell. And it shows you flashes of the torment. Very Hellraiser in the way it shows it. This is a really good movie. Has a little bit dated CGI that you can pick up on the 4K. I don't care. I do not give a shit. This is a really good movie. Event Horizon has to be on the list. All right, next one is one of my favorite Tobe Hooper films. It is unfortunately the one that bankrupted canon. I've talked about it a lot. It is sci-fi, it is horror, it is a vampire film, it is an alien film, it is Life Force. I bang the drum on this one a lot. I have a lot of fun. It literally has all of those elements. I've talked about it so much before, but if you have not seen this, now the director's cut on here is not in 4K. The theatrical cut is. I recommend you skip the theatrical cut and watch the, even though it's not in 4K, watch the director's cut. That's the way to watch the film. Completely enjoyable, very different. It was ahead of its time. I think is a super cool sci-fi horror, so Life Force has to make the list. All right, this is where we start to get into controversy, because this is a film that also, and I said I wasn't going to do this, but this is a film that made my horror favorite, like best horror movies list. But this is one that straddles the line big time. Now, I'm just going to tell you right now, The Thing is not on this list. I refuse to put it on another list. It's not fair to compare to another's. It is listed first on IMDb as horror. I think it is horror with a sci-fi element. If you take the spaceship away from The Thing at the beginning, it is just a creature feature. So I take that out. But this one is about an alien invasion, and that is They Live. Now, IMDb classifies this as action, horror, sci-fi. And, I'm going to kind of go with that. I got this cool slip box here, and it's a great steel book. Rowdy Roddy Piper. There's so much in here. It's like it's like the line from The Faculty. And I was just using this in another explanation, something we were talking about here at home. If you were going to try to take over the world, would you land your spaceship on the White House lawn, Independence Day style? Or would you try to infiltrate quietly, gain power, gain influence, desensitize people to your existence and all of that, and kind of control them without them knowing it? That's what They Live is about. It is a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece of sci-fi horror. You have to have They Live on your list. Great 4K, John Carpenter. What can I say? It makes my list. Fight me. All right, we are at our top 3, but at 3 we have a tie because I don't see how you split either one of these up. So I'm just going to say, and some of you are going to be like, what the? This is not number 1. I'm going to say Aliens and Alien are tied here at number 3. Like, how do you, I was going to put them separately. How do you separate them? They are both clearly sci-fi horror. Alien is a little scarier to me. They're both horror films. The sequence in Alien where we first ever meet the chest burster is one of the craziest top 25 kills in horror history. It's on my list of that. Let's check out that video. We had never seen anything like that. And so much stuff done practically. Like, in order to make some of these sets look bigger, they put little kids in suits and shot from a distance. There's so much practical stuff here. But then the creature design is iconic. So it is a sci-fi movie, yes, but it is also creature feature horror, survival horror. It is all there. Absolute classic. Alien and Aliens are 2 of my favorite movies ever. They are in that I think I have them tied in my top 25 of favorite movies ever. They are there. I love these 2 movies. They have to be on any sci-fi horror list for it to be taken seriously. They come in here tied at number 3 for me. The top 2 is where we're about to get seriously controversial, because I don't think a lot of people classify these as horror. They're going to classify them as sci-fi, but maybe not horror. But I'm going to tell you how you're wrong. So coming in at number 2 is one of my top 5 movies ever. And that is Predator. Yeah, you say, wait, what? How the hell? Well, I'll tell you how the hell. Because this is a sci-fi movie, no doubt, because the Predator is an alien, right? So you got your sci-fi element there. But if you take the way that he's an alien, it is definitely a creature. I was trying to get it out of here so it wouldn't reflect so much. He is definitely a creature, right? It could definitely be a creature feature monster movie. And to be honest, he might as well be like Jason stalking these people through the woods. What's the difference? Except for you have a bunch of badass dudes who have the ability to fight back. To me, this is 100% sci-fi, but creature feature horror, slasher horror, survival horror. It is all there. It is one of my favorite movies ever. I will argue all day long that this is a sci-fi horror action film, and put the Predator up there with any creature design ever for a monster movie. So for me, the Predator comes in at number 2. And that just leaves one film, and I'm going to be ready to fight off everyone over this because there's a lot of films I could put on this list. And there was actually one other one I thought about as I was doing this list, and now I can't remember what it is. It still would not beat out this one, and I am talking about the Terminator. Yes, I think Arnold should be considered a horror icon from the 80s because the Predator is a sci-fi horror film. And then in this movie, he plays a monster. In every way, shape, or form, he is a monster. This is a slasher movie that takes place in the streets of LA, right? That is what happens here. This is in the streets in California. He is a monster, a slasher, single-minded. There is no difference in his character here than Jason in Friday the 13th. than Michael Myers in Halloween. There is no difference. None, except for how he came to be. That is only the difference. And that's where the sci-fi element comes in, because he travels back in time and he is a cyborg or whatever. That's the only difference. Otherwise, he could be a monster just like Jason, just like Michael Myers. He is single-minded. He does not care. He stalks. He kills. He is a monster. This is a slasher film. This is a slasher film disguised as a sci-fi film. So honestly, if you take this film and you take The Predator and you take, what's the movie? End of Days, you could argue that Arnold is kind of a horror icon. He should be considered more of a horror icon. I think this is the best sci-fi horror film ever made. This is Jason or Michael Myers. This is Halloween or Friday the 13th if it was a sci-fi movie. That's what this is. This is a great film, one of my favorite films of all time, and I'll fight you, I think it is the best sci-fi horror film ever. So, The Terminator comes in at number 1 on my sci-fi horror list. I know that this list is going to be controversial. I was trying to think, there was a couple of others that I was trying to think of while I was on here, and now I cannot remember them for the life of me. So you guys shoot me some of your other favorite sci-fi horror films down here. There were probably ones I was thinking of. I was trying to keep it to ones that I had on physical media and not anything that I didn't own on physical media. So there might be some missing. That would be why but these would still, I don't really know of anything else that might knock these out, but you guys let me know, what are your favorite sci-fi horror films of all time? Do you agree that The Terminator and Predator are sci-fi horror films? Let me know what's your thoughts on that. I just had a blast with this. I love sci-fi. I love horror. All this, all the spooky vibes, a little bit different. I know there are hardcore sci-fi fans out there. I am one of them. I have a huge sci-fi collection over here. We'll do a room tour eventually, and you guys will see all of my sci-fi films. I love sci-fi, love horror. I have a very strong opinion about Terminator and Predator, and I'm very defensive that those are sci-fi horror, but you guys let me know what you think. And I hope you've enjoyed this. We are spooky season focused right now with lots of scary lists, rankings, 4K reviews, all that. We do that all the time here too, not just with horror and sci-fi movies. We're just focused on that right now through the end of October. All of it from a fan and filmmaker's perspective. We do physical media news, all of that. If that is your jam, please like, subscribe, share the channel, help us grow. I really have a lot of things planned. If you want to help support the channel even more, you can get involved by joining below at my Patreon link or right here on YouTube. A few dollars a month, whatever tier you pick, you're going to get access to all kinds of special content, special videos, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, early looks at videos, and of course your name here in lights, and so much more. I really do appreciate it. I love doing this. I love it so much. I love hanging out with you guys and talking movies. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.
I know.